Admiral Tay stood before Emperor Sung in the Grand Hall of the Dominion. The massive room was silent except for the soft hum of the environmental systems. Hundreds of court officials, military officers, and noble families watched from the sides, their faces showing confusion and fear. The news of the fleet's fate had spread quickly through the empire. "You mean to tell me," Emperor Sung said slowly, "that our greatest fleet, 10,000 of our most powerful warships, simply vanished over this primitive world?" His scaled skin had turned a pale gray, a sign of extreme distress in their species. "Yes, Emperor," Tay replied, his head bowed. "The humans possess technology beyond anything we have encountered. They can shift matter out of our reality." The Emperor rose from his throne, his six-fingered hands gripping the armrests tightly. "And you brought their demands back to me? You, an admiral of the Dominion acting as a messenger for these humans?" Tay did not raise his head. "I had no choice, Emperor. They could have removed our entire fleet. They chose to let my ship and a few others survive, to deliver their message." "Their message," the Emperor repeated. His voice was dangerously quiet. "That we should surrender 17 conquered worlds? That we should end our expansion? That the greatest empire in the galaxy should bow to the will of a single planet?" "Not just a single planet," Tay said. "Earth has allies, hidden allies on every world we've conquered." Before the Emperor could respond, the doors to the Grand Hall burst open. Grand Admiral Yu, the highest military commander in the Dominion, strode in. His face showed no emotion, but his rapid pace betrayed his urgency. "Emperor," Yu said, bowing quickly, "we have reports from across the Empire. Strange devices have been detected in orbit around our major worlds. They appeared simultaneously, moments ago." The Emperor sank back onto his throne. "The humans?" "Yes," Yu confirmed. "And that's not all. Our garrisons on all 17 conquered worlds report that their weapons have stopped working. Human ships have appeared in orbit around each planet." Emperor Sung looked at Admiral Tay, who met his gaze steadily. "I warned you, Emperor," Tay said. "Their technology is beyond our understanding. They've been watching us for centuries, preparing for this moment." On the main screen of the hall, a transmission cut through all security protocols. Dr. Han's face appeared, calm and composed. "Emperor Sung of the Celestial Dominion," she began. "I trust Admiral Tay has delivered our terms." The Emperor stood. "How dare you address me directly? The Dominion does not negotiate with—" "This is not a negotiation," Han interrupted. "This is a declaration. Your empire of conquest is over." The screen split to show multiple images: human ships in orbit around Dominion worlds, strange devices positioned near key military installations, and most shockingly, the people of the conquered worlds rising up against their oppressors. "For 300 years we watched your empire grow," Han continued. "We saw how you conquered peaceful worlds, how you stripped them of resources, how you enslaved their people. We chose a different path," said General Kim, stepping into view beside her. "We chose to help, not conquer, to defend, not attack. We shared our technology with those who needed protection." Emperor Sung's rage was visible, but beneath it was something the court had never seen before: fear. "You cannot control all our worlds," he said. "The Dominion spans thousands of systems." "We don't need to control them," Han replied. "We only need to show them that you can be defeated, that your reign of terror can end." As if on cue, Admiral Yu received an urgent message on his communication device. His eyes widened as he read it. "Emperor," he said, his voice shaking, 50 of our colony worlds have declared independence. Their governors say they've been promised protection by Earth." The Emperor's skin turned even paler. "Impossible. You built your empire on fear," Han said. "Fear works only when people believe they cannot fight back. We've shown them they can." "What happens now?" the Emperor asked, his voice more subdued. "You will sign peace treaties with all 17 worlds you've conquered," Han said. "You will recognize their independence. You will pay reparations for the damage you've caused." "And if I refuse?" The Emperor tried to sound defiant, but his voice wavered. Kim gestured to someone off-screen. The image changed to show the Dominion's greatest shipyard. Thousands of warships under construction. The future of the Dominion fleet. A small flash of blue light appeared in the center of the shipyard. It expanded rapidly, surrounding ship after ship. Within seconds, half the shipyard had simply vanished. That was a demonstration, Kim said as the image returned to his face. A small taste of what will happen to your entire empire if you refuse our terms. The Grand Hall was completely silent. Even the Emperor had no words. Han's face softened slightly. We don't want to destroy you, Emperor Sung. Despite everything your empire has done, we believe in peace, in second chances. Sign the treaties. End your conquests, become a member of the galactic community, not its tyrant. The transmission ended, leaving the massive screen dark. Emperor Sung slowly sat down on his throne. For several long moments, no one in the hall dared to speak. Finally, the Emperor looked up at Admiral Tay. You were right to bring their message, he said quietly. The Dominion cannot fight this enemy. Not an enemy, Emperor, Tay replied carefully. They could have destroyed us. Instead, they offer us a chance to change. 6 months later, Admiral Tay stood on the observation deck of a diplomatic vessel approaching Earth. Behind him stood Emperor Sung, looking uncomfortable in ceremonial robes rather than his usual military uniform. Are you sure they can be trusted? The Emperor asked for perhaps the 100th time. Yes, Tay said simply. In the months since our defeat, they've kept every promise. They've helped rebuild the worlds we damaged. They've even offered to return our phased ships if we maintain peace. The Emperor nodded slowly. And the crews? After being trapped in that other reality, are they well? They report no lasting harm, Tay assured him. They experienced the time as a strange dream. Some say it changed them, made them see things differently. As Earth grew larger in the view screen, Tay reflected on how everything had changed. The mighty Dominion, conqueror of 1,000 worlds, humbled by a planet they had considered primitive. 17 worlds freed. 50 more gaining independence peacefully as the Dominion transformed itself. I've been studying human history, Tay said as they prepared to dock at the Earth space station. They fought terrible wars among themselves, caused great suffering, but they learned from it. They chose a better path. And they believe we can do the same? The Emperor asked. Yes, Tay replied. That's the most surprising thing about humans. They believe in second chances. As they stepped onto the station, Dr. Han and General Kim waited to greet them. Behind them stood representatives from dozens of worlds. Some the Dominion had conquered, others they had never even known existed. Welcome to Earth, Han said, extending her hand in the human gesture of friendship. After a moment's hesitation, Emperor Sung took it. In that simple gesture, a new chapter in galactic history began. The day the most powerful alien fleet disappeared, over Earth wasn't the end of a story, it was just the beginning. Admiral Tay watched helplessly as his mighty fleet vanished ship by ship. The expanding circle of disappearances slowed, then stopped. When it was over, only the flagship Inevitable Victory and 50 escort vessels remained. 9,950 ships gone. They left us, June said, his voice barely above a whisper. They could have taken us all, but they chose not to. Tay knew June was right. The humans were sending a message. They wanted survivors to tell the story. Admiral, Sue called from her station. Another transmission from Earth. Tay nodded, feeling defeated for the first time in his long career. Put it through. The main screen lit up, showing Dr. Han again. This time she stood in a different room, larger and filled with strange equipment. Behind her, Tay could see a glowing blue sphere suspended in the air. Admiral Tay, Han said, you and your remaining ships are free to leave our system. We could have removed your entire fleet, but we want you to return to your Emperor. Tell him what happened here. Tay's pride flared. You think you've won? The Dominion will return with a fleet 10 times this size. Han's expression didn't change. No, Admiral, you misunderstand. This isn't a victory for us. It's a revelation for you. We've allowed your flagship to scan our world. Look at the data you're receiving. Sue turned to her console as information began flooding in. Admiral, these readings, they're incredible. Power generation beyond anything we've ever seen. Cities that extend deep underground. Manufacturing capabilities that exceed the entire Dominion. Impossible, Tay whispered. But he knew it was true. We could have revealed ourselves centuries ago, Han continued. We chose not to. We watched as the Dominion spread across the stars, conquering and enslaving. We prepared. Why now? Tay asked. Why reveal yourselves to us now? Because you left us no choice, said a new voice. The camera pulled back to reveal General Kim, standing beside Han. Your empire has reached our doorstep. You've conquered worlds near our borders. Peaceful worlds. Worlds under our protection. Protection? Tay repeated. You claim these worlds as your territory? No, Han said firmly. We claim them as free. We've hidden our technology from the galaxy, Admiral, but we haven't been idle. For 200 years, we've traveled to stars you consider empty. We've built outposts, listening posts, research stations. We've made friends. The screen split to show images that shocked Tay to his core. Human ships near distant stars. Human. Bases on moons and planets the Dominion had passed by as worthless. Human observers watching silently as Dominion fleets conquered world after world. You've been spying on us, Tay said, anger rising in his voice. Learning about you, Han corrected. Understanding your weaknesses, your blind spots. Your technology is impressive, Admiral, but it follows a predictable path. Ours does not. Meanwhile, deep inside Earth's underground complex, Director Park approached Dr. Han as soon as the transmission paused. The aliens couldn't see them talking. Are you sure about this, Doctor? Park asked quietly. Revealing so much? They need to understand, Han replied. The Dominion must know that their time of unchallenged conquest is over. Park nodded toward a large door at the back of the room. And the others? They're still waiting. Bring them in, Han said. It's time. Park pressed a button on his wrist device. The massive doors slid open, revealing a group of aliens. They weren't from the Dominion. They were from the worlds the Dominion had conquered. Back on the inevitable. Victory, Tay was trying to process what he was seeing when the transmission resumed. His eyes widened as alien species he recognized stepped into view beside the humans. Impossible, he gasped. The Keldari? The Vosine? The Tyran? These were species from worlds the Dominion had conquered years ago. Representatives from 17 worlds, Admiral, Han explained. 17 worlds you thought you had conquered completely. A Keldari stepped forward. Tay recognized the species by their blue skin and forearms. I am Yun of the Keldari, the alien said. 6 years ago, your fleets destroyed our cities, killed millions of my people. You thought you had broken us. But they reached out to us, Han continued. Through hidden channels, secret communications. We brought their survivors to Earth, gave them sanctuary, shared our technology. All 17 worlds have resistance movements, General Kim added. Waiting, preparing, and now, ready. Tay understood the full picture now. It wasn't just Earth. It was a coalition, hidden in plain sight, waiting for this moment. On his tactical display, new readings appeared. Energy signatures identical to Earth's technology, activating on every world the Dominion had conquered. The resistance wasn't just on Earth. It was everywhere. Lieutenant Jin had been monitoring the transmissions from his lab. He rushed to the bridge, breathless. Admiral, he said urgently, I've analyzed their technology. The phase-shifting device they're using, it requires incredible power. But once established, the effect is permanent unless they choose to reverse. To meaning? Tay asked. Meaning our ships aren't coming back unless the humans bring them back, Jin explained. Our lost crews are conscious, Admiral. They can see us, hear us, but they can't interact with our reality. They're trapped. As if reading their conversation, Dr. Han spoke again. Your crews are unharmed, Admiral Tay. They have air, power, and supplies. They're simply elsewhere, and they will remain there. What do you want? Tay asked, knowing he had no choice but to listen. Peace, Han said simply. On our terms, you will leave our solar system. You will withdraw from the 17 worlds. You've conquered. You will end your expansion. The Emperor will never agree, Tay said. He will, Kim replied confidently, because the alternative is the end of the Dominion. Han gestured to a screen behind her. It showed thousands of small devices, identical to those Tai's probes had discovered in Earth's solar system. We've placed phase shift projectors near every major Dominion world, Han explained. Your homeworld, your colonies, your shipyards. One command from Earth and your civilization disappears. Not destroyed, just removed from our reality. Tay felt cold fear grip his heart. You've had this power all along. You could have used it at any time. We're not conquerors, Admiral, Han said. We don't want to rule. We don't want to destroy. We want peace. Freedom for all worlds to choose their own paths. And if we refuse? Tay asked, though he knew the answer. Then the Dominion will join your lost ships, Kim said. A footnote in history, a cautionary tale. Tay looked at the faces of his bridge crew. Fear, confusion, defeat. He had no choice. I will take your terms to the Emperor, he said finally. Good. Han nodded. You have 48 hours to clear our solar system. After that, any Dominion ship found here will be removed. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Set course for the homeworld, Tay ordered quietly. Maximum speed. As the remaining ships turned away from Earth, Lieutenant Jin approached Tay. Admiral, he said softly, the humans could have destroyed us. Why didn't they? Tay looked back, at the blue planet growing smaller on the view screen. Because they're not like us, he answered, and that's why they won. The command bridge of the inevitable victory fell silent. Admiral Tay stared at the empty screen where Dr. Han's face had been moments ago. 1,000 ships gone. 1,000 ships with crews of hundreds each. All vanished, without a trace. Admiral, what are your orders? Commander June asked, his voice barely steady. Tay didn't answer right away. His mind raced through possibilities. Retreat would mean failure. Staying might mean destruction. The Emperor would not accept excuses. We still have 9,000 ships, Tay said finally. The humans have shown their hand. Now we know they have some kind of removal technology, but they can't possibly have the power to affect our entire fleet. Officer Sue looked up from her console. Sir, we don't know that. They made 1,000 ships disappear without leaving any trace. It must have limits, Tay insisted. All technology has limits. We will test those limits. He turned to June. Prepare waves 3 and 4, different approach vectors, wider spread. Let's see how many targets they can hit at once. Yes, Admiral, June replied, though doubt showed clearly on his face. As the orders went out, Tay moved to a private communication terminal. He needed to speak to someone with a different perspective. Someone who might understand what they were facing. Connect me to Lieutenant Jin, he ordered the computer. Jin was the fleet's chief xenobiologist. If anyone could make sense of this human technology, it would be him. The screen lit up, showing the face of a younger officer with distinctive ridge patterns around his eyes. Admiral, Jin said, bowing his head slightly. How can I assist? You've studied the humans, yes? What do our records say about their technological capabilities? Jin blinked rapidly, a sign of confusion in their species. Sir, all data indicates Earth is a pre-galactic civilization. They have basic space travel limited to their own solar system. Their weapons are chemical and nuclear, nothing that could threaten our fleet. That information is clearly wrong, Tay snapped. They just made 1,000 of our ships vanish. Jin's eyes widened. Vanish? Not destroyed? Correct. No debris, no energy readings, just gone. Tay leaned closer to the screen. I need theories, Lieutenant. What could do this? Jin was silent for a moment. There is an old theory, sir, about shifting matter between dimensions or realities. It was considered impossible by our scientists, but if they could do it, they could make our ships exist somewhere else. Tay finished the thought, without destroying them. Exactly, sir. But the energy requirements would be enormous. Tay ended the communication and returned to the main bridge. Waves 3 and 4 were now moving toward Earth, 1,000 ships each, approaching from opposite sides of the planet. Meanwhile, far below on Earth's surface, Dr. Han stood in a vast underground facility. Around her, dozens of technicians monitored glowing screens and complex equipment. The air hummed with power. "Status of the Veil?" she asked. Director Park looked up from the central console. "Fully operational, Doctor. Power reserves at 87% after removing the first 1,000 ships." Han nodded. "Their admiral is testing us. He's sending more ships spread out this time." "Should we take them all?" Park asked. "No," Han replied. "Let's be selective. Take half from each wave. Let them see that we can choose which ships disappear. That will frighten them more than taking all at once." Park nodded and issued the commands to his team. On the massive screen above them, they could see the alien fleet represented as red dots. The new waves approached Earth from east and west. "Veil. Targeting system locked," announced Technician Ho. "Ready on your command." Han watched the screen intently. "Wait until they're fully committed to their approach. Now." Ho pressed his hand against a glowing panel. The effect was immediate. Back on the inevitable victory, Admiral Tay watched in horror as half of the ships in each wave simply vanished. Not in sequence, not in any pattern he could discern. Ships from the front, middle, and rear of the formations disappeared at the same instant. "It's not random," Sue whispered. "They're choosing which ships to take." Tay gripped the edge of the command console. "All ships halt, maintain current positions." The remaining 1,000 ships from waves 3 and 4 stopped their approach. The fleet hung in space, paralyzed by an enemy they couldn't see or fight. "Admiral," June said quietly, "we've received another transmission from Earth." Tay nodded, grimly. "Put it through." Dr. Han appeared again on the screen. This time she wasn't alone. Beside her stood a man in a dark uniform with silver markings on the shoulders. "Admiral Tay," Han said, "this is General Kim of Earth Defense. We hope our demonstration has made our capabilities clear." "What have you done with my ships?" Tay demanded. "Where are my soldiers?" "They exist," Han replied. "Just not in this reality anymore. They've been shifted 3 microseconds out of phase with our universe. They can see us but cannot interact with us, cannot fire weapons, cannot communicate." "That's impossible," Tay said, though he knew it wasn't. Jin had suggested this very thing. "For you, perhaps," Han said. "Earth has chosen to hide its true, technological state for centuries. We watched as empires like yours conquered and destroyed. We prepared. We advanced in secret." General Kim spoke next. "You have 2 options, Admiral. Leave our solar system immediately, or join your comrades in the void between realities." The transmission ended before Tay could respond. "Sir?" June waited for orders, along with everyone else on the bridge. Tay stared at the planet below. So small, so blue, so deceptive. "Launch probes," he ordered suddenly. "Not toward Earth, away from it, in all directions. I want to know if there are any human ships hiding in our system." The probes launched quickly, speeding away from the fleet. Within minutes, they began sending back data. "Admiral," Sue said, her voice shaking, "the probes have detected structures, thousands of them, in orbit around all the planets, even the gas giants." The main screen showed the images. Around Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, everywhere in the solar system, floated small, almost invisible devices. "They're projectors, sir," June said after analyzing the data. "The same technology that's making our ships disappear. They've surrounded their entire system with them." Tay understood the message perfectly. The humans could reach out and remove any ship anywhere in their system at any time. Lieutenant Jin's voice came over the comm system. "Admiral, I've been reviewing old records. 300 years ago, we sent probes to study Earth. They reported a pre-industrial civilization. But look at these energy readings now. The data appeared on a side screen. Earth was producing power on a scale that rivaled the Dominion homeworld. They've been hiding, Tay whispered. All this time. He made his decision. Send a message to all remaining ships. Prepare to. Before he could finish, Officer Sue cried out, "Admiral, more ships are vanishing." On the tactical display, Tay watched as hundreds more of his vessels disappeared. Not in waves now, but in an expanding circle. Moving outward from Earth, their patience had run out. Admiral Tay stood tall on the bridge of his massive ship. His gray skin tightened across his face as he looked at the blue planet on the main screen. Earth, the next world to fall to the celestial dominion. Magnificent, isn't it? He said to no one in particular. His 6 fingers tapped against the metal railing. So much water, so many resources. Behind him, Commander June checked the readings on his control panel. All ships report ready, Admiral. 10,000 warships in position around the planet. 10,000 ships. The largest fleet ever gathered in the history of the Dominion. Tay had made sure of it. Humans might be primitive, but they had a reputation for being unpredictable. Better to crush them with overwhelming force than risk a drawn-out conflict. Any response to our arrival? Tay asked. None, Admiral, replied June. Their global communications continue as normal. News channels, entertainment, business signals, all unchanged. It's as if they don't see us. Tay frowned. This was unusual. When the Dominion fleet appeared over other worlds, there was always panic, always fear. The sight of 10,000 warships blocking the stars typically sent primitive species into chaos. They must see us, Tay said. We're blocking 20% of their sky. Officer Sue moved to Tay's side. Perhaps their detection systems are more primitive than we thought, Admiral. Our scans show minimal space defenses. A few hundred satellites, 6 small space stations, and a handful of simple rockets. Nothing that poses any threat. Tay nodded. Slowly, send the message. All channels, all languages we've decoded from their broadcasts. Sue pressed a series of buttons on the control panel. Message ready, Admiral. Tay straightened his uniform and looked directly at the recording device. People of Earth. I am Admiral Tay of the Celestial Dominion. Your planet is now under our control. Your resources belong to us. Your people will serve the Dominion. Resistance is pointless. You have 1 rotation of your planet to surrender your leaders to us. If you fail to comply, we will destroy your largest cities as a demonstration of our power. Sue ended the transmission. Message sent, Admiral. It's broadcasting on all frequencies. Now we wait, Tay said, returning his gaze to the blue planet. He had done this 17 times before. 17 worlds had fallen to his fleet. Each time, the pattern was the same. Panic, desperate attempts to fight back, then surrender. Earth would be no different. But as the hours passed, something strange happened. Or rather, nothing happened at all. Still no response, Commander? Tay asked, his patience wearing thin. June shook his head. None, Admiral. Their broadcasts continue, normally. No mention of our message, no signs of panic, no military mobilization. Impossible! Tay slammed his fist on the railing. Check the transmission, make sure they received it. Confirmed, Admiral, Sue reported. The message was received. It appeared on all their screens, interrupted all their broadcasts. They heard us. They simply ignored us. Tay's scales darkened with anger. No species had ever dared to ignore the Dominion. This was an insult he could not allow. Prepare the first wave, he ordered. 500 ships. Target their largest cities. We'll show them what happens to worlds that don't take us seriously. Yes, Admiral, June responded, relaying the orders to the fleet. 500 massive warships broke formation, descending toward Earth's atmosphere. Each one carried enough firepower to level a city. Together, they would turn Earth's most populated areas into ash and molten rock. Tay watched with satisfaction as the ships moved into attack position. The humans would learn their place just as all others had before them. "First wave in position, Admiral," June reported. "Weapons charging. Attack will commence in 60 seconds. Tay nodded. "Good. Let them see their doom approaching. Perhaps now they'll—" "Admiral!" Officer Sue interrupted, her voice rising in alarm. "We're losing contact with the ships." Tay turned sharply. "What?" "The first wave, sir. They're disappearing from our sensors." On the main screen, the formation of ships began to show gaps. One by one, then in groups of 10, then 50, the green dots representing Dominion warships simply vanished. "Weapon malfunction?" Tay demanded. "Some kind of interference?" "Unknown, sir," Sue replied, her fingers moving rapidly over the controls. "We detect no energy weapons, no explosions. The ships are just gone." "That's impossible," Tay growled. "Nothing can make 500 warships disappear without a trace." Yet the evidence was before his eyes. The entire first wave, 500 of the most powerful ships in the galaxy, had vanished completely. "Commander," Tay said, struggling to keep his voice calm. "Send a message to the command ship of the first wave." June tried several times. "No response, Admiral. All channels are dead." The bridge fell silent. The officers looked to Tay, waiting. For his decision, "Send the second wave," he ordered finally, "but with caution. Full sensors, full shields, I want to know what's happening." Another 500 ships moved toward Earth, weapons ready but not yet charging. They moved slowly, scanning for whatever had eliminated the first wave. On the main screen, Tay watched intently as the second wave approached the position where the first had vanished. "All ships reporting normal, Admiral," Sue said. "No signs of—" She stopped mid-sentence, eyes widening. "It's happening again." Before their eyes, the second wave began to disappear. One moment a ship was there, the next it was gone. No explosion, no debris, just gone. "Pull them back," Tay shouted. "Full retreat." But it was too late. The second wave vanished as completely as the first. Panic began to spread through the bridge. 1,000 ships gone without firing a single shot, without even seeing what had destroyed them. Tay gripped the railing tightly. "All ships. Maintain position. Do not approach Earth." For the first time in his long career, Admiral Tay felt fear creeping up his spine. Whatever the humans had done defied all known science. It wasn't a weapon. Weapons left debris. It wasn't a shield. Shields deflected attacks. "Admiral," June said quietly, "we're receiving a transmission. From Earth." Tay stared at the screen as it flickered to life. A human woman appeared. She had dark hair tied back from her face and wore a simple white uniform with no markings of rank. "Admiral Tay," she said in perfect Dominion language. "My name is Dr. Han. Your ships have not been destroyed. Consider this a demonstration. You have 1 hour to leave our solar system. Otherwise, your entire fleet will join them." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Tay looked back at the blue planet, seeing it with new eyes. Earth wasn't primitive at all. It was the most dangerous world he had ever encountered, and for the first time in the history of the Celestial Dominion, Admiral Tay wasn't sure if victory was possible.